Bronson Reed shocks the world at Crown Jewel. Bronson Reed just pinned Roman Reigns. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Bronson Reed just pinned Roman Reigns. In Australia. In an Australian street fight. At Crown Jewel. And if you think that sentence doesn't sound absolutely bonkers, you haven't been paying attention to wrestling for the last 4 years. Welcome back to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, and holy hell, do we have a story to break down today. Because what happened in Perth wasn't just an upset. It was a statement. It was chaos. It was the kind of match that reminds you why we love this insane, unpredictable, beautifully violent business. Let's start with the basics, because sometimes you need to just sit back and appreciate the audacity of what WWE just did. Roman Reigns, the guy who held the Universal Championship for over 1,300 days, the guy who beat everyone from John Cena to Brock Lesnar, the guy who literally changed the entire landscape of WWE, just lost clean to Bronson Reed. Okay, not exactly clean because Bron Breakker was involved and the Usos got taken out and there was interference everywhere, but still. Reed got the pin. Reed's music hit. Reed stood tall over Roman Reigns in front of a crowd in his home country. That's not a fluke. That's not an accident. Now, before we dive into the match itself, let's talk about the genius of booking this as the opening match of Crown Jewel. The opening match. Usually, when you put a huge name like Roman Reigns on a card, he's closing the show. He's the main event. He's the guy you build toward all night. But WWE said nope, we're starting hot. We're kicking this show off with an Australian street fight in Australia featuring an Australian wrestler, and we're going to blow the roof off this place immediately. That's bold. That's confident. And it worked perfectly because now everyone who was watching had to keep watching to see if anything could possibly top what they just witnessed. The match started exactly how you'd expect a street fight to start. No feeling out process, no technical wrestling, just pure aggression. Reed and Reigns immediately took it outside the ring and into the crowd because why waste time with niceties when you can just start swinging? Reigns grabbed a trash can and absolutely demolished Reed with it, which, let's be honest, is the kind of thing Roman does with a trash can that makes you wonder if he has a personal vendetta against garbage containers. But Reed is not someone who stays down easy. The man is built like a boulder with anger issues, and he came to fight in front of his people. They made their way back to ringside, and this is where things started getting interesting. Reigns armed himself with a cricket bat, which is such a perfect touch for an Australian street fight. Not a baseball bat, not a steel chair, a cricket bat. That's attention to detail. That's understanding your audience. Reed tried to counter with a kendo stick, but Roman being Roman, he just took it away from him and started using it himself because of course he did. Roman Reigns doesn't just use weapons, he steals your weapons and uses them better than you ever could. That's championship mentality right there. And then Roman did the most Roman thing possible. He got on the microphone and told the Perth crowd that if they wanted tables, they had to acknowledge him. In Australia. In Bronson Reed's home country. The man's ability to be the most arrogant person in any room, any arena, any continent, is truly a gift. You have to respect the commitment to being insufferable. But here's the thing about playing heel in someone's home country when that someone is a 300-pound wrecking ball. It tends to motivate them. The action continued with Roman hitting a Samoan drop on Reed onto a chair set up in the ring, which looked absolutely brutal. But Reed came back with a stop sign because apparently street fights in Australia involve all kinds of traffic signage. Reigns threw Reed into a chair set up in the corner and followed it up with a Superman punch, which is basically Roman's way of saying I'm still in control here. He went for another Superman punch, but Reed rolled out of the ring, and this is where everything changed. Roman, being the overconfident tribal chief that he is, decided to go for a super spear. He was going to fly through the air and end this thing in spectacular fashion. Except he didn't account for one very important factor. Bron Breakker. Because just as Roman was launching himself, Breakker came out of nowhere and hit Roman with a spear that probably registered on seismographs across Australia. That interception was perfectly timed, perfectly executed, and it completely shifted the momentum of the match. But Breakker wasn't done. He and Reed decided that Roman needed to be taught a lesson about respecting the vision, so they powerbombed him through the commentary desk. Through the commentary desk. If you're Roman Reigns, this is the moment where you're thinking, okay, maybe I miscalculated here. Maybe antagonizing a 300-pound Australian in front of his entire country while his dangerous friend is lurking around wasn't my smartest move. But Roman didn't have much time to reflect on his life choices because that's when Usos' music hit. The Usos came running down to save their tribal chief, and for a moment it looked like the bloodline was going to prevail like they always do. The Usos are one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and they were here to even the odds. Jimmy and Jay started brawling with Breakker and Reed, and the match turned into absolute chaos. Bodies everywhere, weapons flying, the crowd going absolutely nuclear. This is the kind of main event level chaos you expect at the end of a show, and it was happening in the opening match. That's how you set the tone for an entire event. But the Vision wasn't intimidated by the Bloodline's reinforcements. Breakker speared Jimmy through the barricade with the kind of impact that makes you wince even watching it on TV. Meanwhile, Reed took out Jay in the ring because apparently taking on the entire Bloodline solo is just a regular Tuesday for Bronson Reed. Roman recovered enough to hit back-to-back Superman punches to Reed, which is his signature sequence when he's trying to turn the tide. But here's where it all fell apart for the tribal chief. And honestly, it's almost poetic. Jey Uso, trying to help his cousin, went for a spear on Reed. But Reed moved. And Jey accidentally speared Roman Reigns through a table set up in the corner. Let me repeat that. Jey Uso, the guy Roman has been manipulating and mentoring and molding on Raw, the guy Roman keeps trying to control, accidentally speared Roman through a table. If you made it this far, thank you for riding this wave of chaos with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because here at the Wrestling Hidden Insight, we're posting multiple videos every day, bringing you all the latest wrestling news, breakdowns, and analysis. Drop a comment below and tell me what you thought of this match. Did you see Bronson Reed winning? Do you think this changes everything for him? And what do you think happens next with Roman and Jey? Share this video with anyone who missed Crown Jewel because this match was too good not to talk about. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay locked to the Wrestling Hidden Insight, where we break down the biggest moments in wrestling as they happen.